Hi, this is Andrew Sears. I'm the president of City Vision University, and I'm going to give you an introduction to our course, Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management. So let me tell you about the design of the course. So I help do a lot of the course design, and our primary learning philosophy here at City Vision is the idea of constructionist learning, and basically another name for that is project-based learning. And essentially, the idea is that you learn by constructing something. And in this case, in the course, it's going to be a business plan. So um, part of the reason why I explain that is often students go into courses and they think, everything's about the content in the course. The content in this course is secondary. The idea is you're going to start off with each week's project, and then you learn the content that you need to do that assignment well. So it's important to go through the content, but it's more important that you're applying the content. In many ways, this course will be a capstone for people who've taken other courses. That means you're going to integrate a lot of the things you've learned from other courses. One other thing I'd like to emphasize is just that building a business plan is not the same thing as building a business. A business plan really is a tool. It gets a lot of use for two reasons. One is sometimes funders want to see a business plan, but the other reason is it gets a lot of use in universities because it's a tool to help you learn concepts. But don't be confused that, I did a good business plan, therefore I'm going to have a good business. It's actually very different. But we use this as a tool to help you master all the concepts that you would need to run a business, at least the ones that you can do online on paper. And there's a lot of concepts that you can't learn just by doing a piece of paper. The other thing I'd like to emphasize in this course is that this is, entrepreneurship focused on small business management. So that's actually very different than what you would call high growth startup enterprises. And that's a different form of entrepreneurship. That would be like Facebook or Google. And a lot of the concepts there are covered in our course, High Tech Social Entrepreneurship. So in the course, there's going to be a lot of different learning methods. So there's the book. It's called Start Your Own Business. It's from Entrepreneur Magazine, which is one of the best resources in the world for entrepreneurs. So we have, and it's very focused on the practical. Then we have videos that will teach you the concepts. And then there's also optional online content where we built the course using material from Sailor Academy. And there's free online textbooks that cover all these different areas. So the idea is you're going to start looking at the assignment, and then you're going to, I would say always read the videos. You should probably, read the chapters in the book, and the optional online content really is only if you need it. So, but the main way you're going to learn is through the business plan project, through the weekly assignments, and in the end, that's going to be probably 60-70% of your grade at least. There's also a significant portion of your grade that's going to be in peer feedback in forums and just the forum overall. So you're going to be submitting each week you'll have an assignment related to your business plan that you will submit in the forum. You're going to be submitting a Microsoft Word document, but you'll attach it. And what your goal in peer feedback, and you're going to have to do peer feedback to at least 2 peers every week, and you're going to be role-playing as if you're a business consultant. And you're going to be providing substantial advice to your peers. This is not, oh, good job, Joey. This is, if you're a business consultant, how do you, help advance their business and in a positive way. So, make it supportive feedback. And that's going to be a significant part of your grade. So the plan is you're going to submit your business plan assignment on Friday of each week, and you need to do feedback posted by Sunday. The other thing we're going to use in the course is interviews with entrepreneurs. In some cases, you'll have to go out and find entrepreneurs. So think about the entrepreneurs or even someone who's a small business owner. You may not even know them, but you go into their business and say, "I'd like to interview you for an hour." I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. I've learned more about entrepreneurship by talking to other entrepreneurs than anything else. And I've interviewed, hundreds of entrepreneurs to learn from them, so I'd encourage you to do the same. The outline of the course, week 1 is just an introduction to entrepreneurship. Week 2 is where we start talking about the business plan, give an overview. Weeks 3 through 5 are going to be going through different aspects of the marketing plan and the business plan. Then week 6 is the operations plan. Week 7 will be the financial plan, and you need to do a first rough draft. So that's going to be a significant amount of work. So be sure you do a good job on your first rough draft, and you're actually going to provide a significant feedback to your peers. And then week 8 is going to be the final business plan. So, I mentioned that you'll interview entrepreneurs. I'm going to start off with my entrepreneurial story. Part of what makes City Vision unique is we don't believe in having faculty who've just studied this stuff. All our faculty are practitioners. They've learned this stuff. I've been a lifelong entrepreneur, going back to even in my childhood. But, I'll start off with I was a small business manager at a Burger King restaurant, and I was one of the youngest managers, youngest people promoted to manager at age 15 at Burger King. And I worked there for several years. I realized at the beginning I liked it, but I realized that the head manager was on drugs, and the whole Burger King essentially became a drug house, and they were selling drugs out of it, and I didn't like it. But I learned a lot of things about managing people. I also learned the challenges of working with people. My girlfriend and my best friend were working at that Burger King, and it was not pretty having the conflicts of interest that go along with that. So I went from there, and I started up my own business in high school called A&E Lawn Care. And actually that was one of the happiest times of my life. I just mowed yards and made some good money. And then in college, really, I realized, now I'll just go ahead and, just for entertainment value, show you a picture of me. This is me at Burger King back in, I think, the late 80s, back whenever I had a mullet. I went to college and realized that my passion really was for social entrepreneurship. I started up something called the Internet Headquarters for the Presidential Primary, which was actually the first website that had information on all the presidential candidates for the Republican presidential primary. It was covered by New York Times and a bunch of other groups. And then I was also a social entrepreneur in student government. I went to MIT. Many people call that the nerd capital of the world, and I co-founded the Internet Telephony Consortium with one of the fathers of the Internet, and that was a multi-million-dollar research group that had all the top leaders in Internet telephony, or phone calls over the Internet. If you ever use Skype, that's a form of Internet telephony. And then we started a startup called IP Fusion, and we were a finalist in MIT's business plan competition. A lot of entrepreneurs, they'll have stories of successes, failures. That one was an interesting story in that in the business plan competition, we almost merged with another company that had a very similar business plan to ours, but at the last minute we didn't merge. And that company was, you may have heard of them, it's called WebEx. It was bought by Cisco 2 years later for $300 million. And that's one of my stories of the one that got away, that I thought my business plan was better than WebEx's business plan. Theirs turned out being better than ours. But with our startup, we actually got the CEO of the first internet telephony company to go public. It was called CUCME Software, to become our CEO. But we never got funding for a variety of reasons. One was that CEO had been blacklisted by the venture capital community because he had crossed people, and in the end I decided to go, and I actually didn't list this, but I did my own independent consulting for a number of years. My first job after college, I was making $200 an hour, so I went from running a Burger King where I was making $5 an hour, that the Burger King was a drug house, to making $200 an hour, and that shows the power of education. But I realized my heart was more for the community. And I worked to address the digital divide, started up the Prep Community Computer Center in 1998. That served several thousand at-risk youth and unemployed adults, and then turned that into a national organization called Tech Mission, which is a Christian nonprofit organization, and Tech Mission now is the owner of City Vision University. So that's a little of my history of entrepreneurship, but I've been a lifelong entrepreneur. Sometimes people call those serial entrepreneurs, where you move from one entrepreneurship opportunity to another. And in designing this course, I've tried to make it practical. The other instructors in this course, Tamiko, she is also an entrepreneur. She's founded multiple businesses. She got her one degree she got actually through City Vision. She also has a bachelor's in business administration and a master's in organizational management from University of Phoenix. And Kevin Shima, he has an MBA. He's the head of the media faculty at Pentecostal Life University in Malawi. He's also worked as an independent consultant, and both of them are going to bring a lot of value as your primary instructors. So if you have questions, ask them. They're going to be essentially playing the role of consultants, advising you in your businesses. I'll be involved kind of in oversight, but they'll be the primary ones working with you. So if you have any questions, contact them, and welcome to the class. And I encourage you to look at your first week's assignment.